Hi guys, Namrata here, and I know it's been a long time since I uploaded anything on this channel, and this sounds like a YouTuber trying to make a comeback. But guess what? I was never a consistent YouTuber in the first place itself. But every time that I used to think about what should the channel trailer be about, I've never had like a fixed niche. So in this era of my life, I have such purple hair and I have Euphoria makeup on, and by the title, you would have understood that I am going to talk about Euphoria season 2. I feel that I can make these videos that is like just analysis of what I feel or what I take away from shows that I watch, movies that I watch, places that I go to, work that I do, and everything put together. Number one thing, I don't know what is the backstory behind the character that we know as McKay, but I was really expecting a big character arc for someone like McKay. Someone who was a partner with Cassie and went through ups and downs of Cassie having to face a really pathetic video being surrounded by without her consent and without her knowledge. And I wanted to see that arc kind of flourish in season 2, but I felt like it was kind of left half-hearted, and McKay is just nowhere to be seen now that suddenly Cassie has more to do with Nate Jacobs. As much as I want to elaborate on how much the character arc for McKay and Cassie's relationship would have been, I feel that I should skip to Nate Jacobs and tell you how season 2 episode 4 is like a comma in the entire story. Episode 3 mein jo kuch bhi hua, which was like a breakthrough episode, I would say, because a lot of people are saying online that episode 4 is the breakthrough episode, but the thing is episode 4 is like it's like a dessert to the episode 3, right? Because in episode 3 so many things get established, but episode 4 leaves you hanging because then you want to know what happens in episode 5, you want to know what happens to Fesco, you want to know what happens to Cal Jacobs, who's trying to do his own bullshit, right? So coming back to Nate and not digressing as such, this was the only episode where Cal Jacobs tells his son or tells his family that he regrets them being born at the sun, something like that. That's the only moment where I felt that Nate was victim of his father. Rest every other place from the season 1 and 2, I still felt like a lot of sympathy, empathy was given to Nate Jacobs for or going through things that literally majority of kids go through at that age, right? And by that, I don't mean like the extremity of finding out who your father is and things like that. I'm just saying that figuring out yourself as well as figuring out your relationship with your father, right? And instead of taking the smarter decisions, he tried to use that against Jules, and that was something in season 1 that I completely like put me off, and I felt like if there are people like Cal Jacobs and Nate Jacobs as a character, it shouldn't have more screen time which glorifies their पास्ट सो एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ दैट वुड बी दैट कैल जैकब्स का स्टोरी अब ऐसा बताया गया है कि उसके पास्ट में ही वॉज probably gay and he had a partner and he had the time of his life with that partner, and then something happened where his family started and he had to give up on that dream. What happens is when you show it like this, that when you show that he is a rapist in the present scenario, and then you have an entire season or 2-3 episodes dedicated to his past, or even one episode of 20 minutes dedicated to his past, what it showcases is it showcases cause and effect, right? So it kind of tells the audience who's just consuming it on a binge watching way, coming to the experience that Jewel had in the part 2 series of HBO's Euphoria before season 2. That episode kind of, it's like a film, right? It kind of declares that her journey has always been about getting validation from somewhere or the other. She has sought this validation of womanhood out of strange men, and especially men who she has encounters with. When you think of something like that, you think that these things have to be kept in mind, that if you show part 2 of Jules, where she's going through that whole, moment of her own euphoria as well as dysphoria, you cannot have an entire episode dedicated to Cal Jacobs showing that, hey, you know what, this is his past, this is why he's sad. Now, I don't know what it will pan out in the coming few episodes, because I think that enough of sympathy has been given to Nate, and Cal Jacobs, right? Like, so keeping them aside, even I'm talking a lot about them. But that's the thing, when you make such things, you're also supposed to talk about such things and pinpoint what has kind of been given too much attention to when it was not needed at all. Now, coming to Nate's dynamic with Cassie and Maddie, let's talk about the two people, right? Cassie as well as Maddie. Now, these two people are absolutely strong in however they portray themselves and whoever they are on the inside. Like, let me tell you, there has not been one instance where I haven't felt relatable to Maddie or Cassie, because I feel that we've all been in this place where we are the side chick. We're also always been in the place where we're the main chick and we're aware of a side chick, right? Like, and a lot of people who are saying that Cassie is losing her shit, and the thing is, that's majority of teenagers who have to go through gaslighting by powerful white or cis-het or upper caste men who have the tables faced towards them with all the amenities present to them. They have the power to direct, dictate, and push someone to the boundary of, excessive, like an excessive case of vanity, or excessive case of obsession, or excessive case of fighting and creating animosity with your best friend. Like Cassie and Maddie, the scene in the episode 4 of Maddie's birthday, where Cassie is like creating the best scrapbook ever for her, you would probably feel like calling out Cassie for being a person who, is sleeping with the ex-boyfriend and also doing this for her birthday, and you would call someone like Cassie out. But since we're all on this spree of understanding the background of each character, like if Nate and Cal Jacobs, who are absolutely the worst in the show, can be given so much empathy and sympathy, why isn't Cassie given the same empathy? Especially when it comes to the fact that she is the one who is manipulated by Nate Jacobs in itself. So the dynamic between Maddie and Cassie is so that Maddie will never even assume that Cassie has done something that would be so unfair to her. Maddie has not understood yet, is what I feel, and I want to see how that turns out, or how that pans out, because they have portrayed Maddie to be this person who will kill Cassie, and that is also the portrayal that Nate has given to Cassie. It's not that the ever so narrator who narrates something is the truth for the universe of the show. It is Nate Jacob telling that, hey, you know what, Maddie will kill you if you tell her about this. So then I feel that how much truth does it hold actually, because Maddie is in her own journey of realizing that Nate Jacobs is the problematic person here, right? Now, coming back to Rue, there were so many things where people were telling that Rue is someone who is narrating the show, and is she narrating the show from the afterlife? Because, come on, the amount of drugs, right? So is she narrating the show from the afterlife because she happens to be knowing everything in everyone's life without having interacted with them, right? So, some of the show producers or directors have confirmed that that's not the case. That's just how narration is in the show. But in season 2, she's not narrating as much as she was in season 1, which kind of makes me feel that she is actually in the afterlife, and that's why she's not narrating the show. Hear me out. In 13 Reasons Why, another show where the narration takes place in the afterlife, but in Euphoria, they're saying that that's not the case. So are they trying to show the real portrayal of Rue passing away, because of which narration may not happen, and that is the reality of somebody who is going through addiction? For example, I really feel sad that there's a scene where Jules and Rue are together, and Rue feels nothing, and that is exactly how addiction is. It kind of takes people away from like real experiences, and they take you to another dimension. Now, whatever that dimension is, you may have created a picture perfect dimension for yourself, but what about the people around you who cannot come with you to that dimension? Like for me, from season 1, I don't think that Rue ever really loved Jules, okay? I just feel that Jules was like the replacement for the addiction that she was having, right? So that's why as soon as Jules went away, she fell back into addiction. That's obvious. But now that Jules is back, you would have assumed that she would stop taking drugs, but she continues. And that's why this Elliot factor, this guy in the middle, kind of comes into the picture. He is seen not consuming drugs when Jules is around, and at the same time, he is someone who is very chill about things, like he's fan, and he He's like, hey, we should all make out. Maybe it's his awkwardness of being questioned, upfront, that hey, do you have a crush on so and so person, by Jules. So that, or it's his actual stance that hey, you know what, all three of us are pretty chill, we should like be in a polyamorous relationship. And that angle is something that Euphoria has not touched yet at all, so we don't know whether in season 2 they would do that. It was very binary of me to think that, oh my god, why are Jules and Rue trying to make each other jealous with Elliot? And then I realized that maybe it's just like opening up like a paradigm to like polyamorous relationships in Euphoria, and that is something that I would really like to see. In another show called Sex Education by Netflix in itself, काफी clear है or where the boundaries of a person with disabilities lie when it comes to an intimate relationship. I'm being very objective in the way I refer to these things is because after all, these are all commercial projects and setups. They try to top each other up in the wokest battle of all, right? Euphoria is where I felt that when it comes to being very open about bodies, and sex, and drugs, and everything, there is definitely an aspect of glamorization no matter what. And I still haven't seen how bad it gets for Rue, because Rue has her ass saved every single time by someone or the other, and that doesn't really happen in real life, especially to a person of color. At the same time, there are hardly any person of color characters in this show, and even McKay, who was there, is not giving us, like in the first 4 episodes I see him only once, and that is picking Nate Jacobs up. Fesco, right? Like Fesco, I still feel the show tried to be clear about how Lexi and Fesco have the same age, and previously in season 1, I read this online. This is not what I'm not making this up. I read it online that Nate kind of calls him elder to them, which means that he may be about 18, whereas Lexi is younger to Cassie, which means she's not 18 at all. And in season 2, like Rue kind of declares in the audio that hey, they were all of the same age. Is it so that this guy Fez never went to school and everything, and he is of, I mean, Lexi's age, but that was not clear yet. And to have that two Dovey birds kind of even have a like fundamental conversation, they had to mention that line by Zendaya, right? But I think that the show has to be more clear in its visuals about his age, and by that I literally mean number, because if your audience is having doubts of what is Fesco's age, what is Lexi's age, is she underage, is he an adult but she is a minor, that is a serious doubt to have. And yeah, so, I mean, there are so many questions that I'm left with in this episode 4 season 2 that I think that I will give it time till the end of the season, and then we'll definitely do another video. And I'm just hoping that you guys enjoyed it till this and would like to see more of it. I know this must have been a very long video and after a long time. So feel free to subscribe, feel free to unsubscribe. But please, if you find this relatable, or if you have anything that you think that nobody else pointed out in this show, comment. For example, how all the body parts, most if not all, are prosthetics that they show off in Euphoria. That is a fact that I had to Google. So if you have any such facts, then put it down in the comment below. And I'll see you in my next one.